Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'll just wait till the last couple have the seat here. My name is Kevin McKeown, and I'm with the Alliance for Arts and Culture, like you didn't know that, and I thank you for being here. I'd like to begin this morning's and today's proceedings by acknowledging that we are meeting here today on traditional Coast Salish territory, and to introduce Musqueam artist Deborah Sparrow, who will welcome us. Thank you, Deborah.
You just got to show the before and after, huh? No, I'm kidding. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Kevin and Amanda, and the other people who have worked on your day today. I would, on behalf of my chief, Wayne Sparrow, who, yes, is my relative. In our communities, we're all related. Chief Wayne Sparrow, my council members, my community, my artists, but mostly on behalf of my ancestors, who I'm here for, more than I am for the current people who survived our life of challenges. So on behalf of them, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you, as Kevin mentioned, to the unceded territories of our people. Now, had I been a Squamish, I would say Squamish territory. Have I been a Tsleil-Waututh, I would say Tsleil-Waututh territory. And so I am a Musqueam, I will say Musqueam territory. And this is the interesting thing, is that, you know, in the past we have had disagreements and misunderstandings about who we are, and of course our government loves that, because they said they won't deal with us until we have come to a conclusion together about our territories and about what we define as lines and borders within our own territories. And as I mentioned to someone earlier here in just a short conversation, that we were able in the days past to work around those boundaries and intermarry and be interconnected. And it sounds all good and romantic, but today we've come to the same place as everybody, where this is our territory, this is our guideline, this is our border. And we've fought each other in a silent way. We fought each other without going to war, but we had a silent war. So, you know, in doing all of that, we've come to now a place where we have grown up a little bit in our communities and said, we're all related. It's like having a family and they all marry a different culture, and then you decide in the end that you're still a family, even though you have different beliefs, and you might have different art, and you might have different stories and histories. The one common thing that does connect us is something that happens in our life that's called love and humanity, and through that are all of us creative people who tell the stories through how we see the world, but how we are connected to a world gone. And so it's our responsibility as artists to tell those stories. And we do it through what we call the work we do, but I always like to call it my passion. I don't like to use the word work, because that seems like a different life. So if I'm passionate about what I do and I'm in love with what I do, I want to continue doing it right out of this world into the next and back again. Because with it comes the histories and the stories that are relative to why we exist as human beings, and that's more than just being human. And so when you look at some of the reflections of what I do, whether it's on the screen or if you meet me, I hope that when I leave, you think of the people and not just of me. Because I'm only a messenger, I'm a representative, I'm a storyteller, but also I have a gift, and I share that with you and with all the people that I represent. And I'm sure that each one of you feel the same way, or you wouldn't be here today. And that's what makes us unique in what we do. When the whole world is running around outside in those crazy worlds that we live in, we're the ones that are going to be backgrounding us. We're the ones who are going to give them a soft place to land when everything else seems chaotic. And that's what I feel is important today, is that they need us more now than they ever did. And not just the First Nations, but all of our nations who have come to that place where we don't want oil tankers running our coast, and we don't want, and we're taking a place and we're saying no now. We are the people, we are the ones who voted them in, and we can vote them out. We have to take responsibility and not just keep saying, why are they doing this? It's our responsibility to not let them do it. You know, I mean, and that's the storytelling part of us that we know is connected to who we are as all people. We all share this land in Vancouver. In fact, when I was at school yesterday for my little ones, and I tell the history of the Musqueam people, and I say we've been here for thousands and thousands of years, and that we're a very ancient people. We're not a new people. I, in turn, say, this is your history now, too. You embrace that and say, we come from an ancient history, an ancient Vancouver. And we share that with you again, that we all need to recognize today that this is who we are in Vancouver, and that we have a lot of work to do to bring us to that point that we are all living in that balance of understanding why we exist. And that's what artists do. If they're not painting it or creating it in some way or another, then they're telling the stories through media. And now I'm really excited because I have a beautiful story I want up on the large screen about oil and about artists and about history and about the mystic ways in which all of us moved through the forest. And so I'm working on that right now because I'm just really excited about the inspirations that that holds. And I could stand up here for another half an hour, but I won't. In our community, I come from a long line of chiefs, and I know that sounds like something out of Whale Riders, but I do. My grandfather was a chief and still is. My father, my younger brother today, my sister, two of my sisters, and another brother. So I do come from a long line of chiefs, and I leave it to them to do that work, but I'm there behind them, supporting them and reminding them of who they are and to keep rooted whenever we feel like we're moving away from who we are. So with that said, again, I'd like to do what my elders do when they say, I wish you good words today and a good heart and good travels home. And that was something they always said at the end when they were moving on. They said, you know, we wish you good travels, safe travels, good words, that you will come to the place you want to be at together as a collective. So with that, I'd like to hold my hands up to you and Kevin and everyone who has put this together, and hope that you have a great day today, and that maybe I'll see you again next year, because Kevin said it's becoming a tradition, and I'll do my best to find some different words next year. Thank you. Haichka.
Thank you, Deborah. We have a few more words of welcome to hear before we get down to the business of the day. And the first one involves me mastering the technology that will see me press the space bar. Is that what I have to do next? We are very, very pleased that we have, unfortunately, she was not able to join us, but we are pleased that we do have a message for you from the Minister of Culture, Coralie Oakes.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of Premier Christy Clark and the Government of British Columbia, thank you for your participation in the Arts Summit 2014. This is a great opportunity for artists and cultural groups to discuss this year's theme, Toward a Cultural Policy Framework. Congratulations to the Alliance for Arts and Culture for hosting this important event and for being a voice for artists and arts organizations in British Columbia. As a member of the Alliance for Arts and Culture, you already understand the vital role that arts and culture play in creating vibrant communities. Since becoming the Minister of Community, Sport and Cultural Development, it has been my honor to meet with many of the BC's artists and cultural leaders. I look forward to working with you as we work towards my mandate of ensuring that we have a vibrant cultural sector in British Columbia as we travel throughout British Columbia. I look forward to working with the Alliance on ensuring that your voices are heard as we work towards a strong cultural strategy in British Columbia. I wish you great success. I wish I was there with you. Thank you very much for all the work that you do in creating vibrant communities across British Columbia.
Thank you, Minister Oakes. I'd now like to call on last year's honorary chair and my perennial thorn in the side for the last 40 years, who keeps pushing this forward. I'd like to invite a few words from Nini Baird.
Before I say a few words, how many of you were here last year? Ah, the converted are already here. Good. I was privileged to be at the beginning of your journey a year ago. When I joined you then, I said it wouldn't be easy, and I think you all agree with that. I know from experience what a challenge you have accepted, but you've come a long way in just 12 months. Undaunted by the challenge, you've broadened the conversation to community cultural roundtables so that people throughout BC can participate. Arts BC has turned out to be a marvelous partner for you in stimulating this provincial conversation, and it's quite clear from the remarks we just heard that your conversations with the minister have also begun to include her in this provincial conversation. As you move forward on your draft framework document, continue to widen this circle of engaged individuals so that a year from now when we meet again, and yes, we'll be here again next year and the year after that pursuing our dream, when we meet again, you'll be ready to present a strong roadmap for the future that will reflect the views and aspirations of artists and communities throughout British Columbia. Don't take anything for granted, and continue to build on the enthusiasm that you've already inspired. Unlike 40 years ago, yes, I do remember that long, even he was a young man then. You're not starting from scratch. Institutions and organizations have been built over those years. Yes, there will always be challenges. Advocacy is hard work. But it's always easier when you already have built a sound cultural framework that has buy-in from the majority of artists and communities throughout British Columbia. I have no doubt that you can do it. Your challenge, as it was when you started a year ago, is to develop the vision that the disparate elements of the arts and cultural sector can rally around. Be realistic about your timelines and to approach the journey with optimism, determination, and enlightened advocacy. Together, we can make a difference, even with Kevin.
You detect a little long-time banter going on here. This conversation that we're having today and that we've been having for the last year in many ways began in 1973 when Nini convened Arts Access in 1973, which I attended as a journalist from the Georgia Strait. And I refer to that event because it is an example to us that these sorts of conversations and events can have results, because out of the work of Arts Access and the work following that conference came a number of things that we had never had here in this province before, including the BC Arts Council, which brings me to the next set of greetings. I would like to welcome and call to the podium Dr. Stan Hamilton, the chair of the BC Arts Council.
Well, Kevin, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I'm going to take off my tie. I put it on because I didn't want the minister back there seeing me without a tie. So now I can feel like I'm part of an arts community. This is relaxing. First of all, thank you very kindly for the invitation to be here and to represent the council. It's a pleasure indeed. Kevin and Rob, thank you for chasing me all the way up to the Okanagan and encouraging me to be here. As I listen to the message from the minister, I think you will probably appreciate the joy I'm getting as chair of council working with Minister Oakes. She is very refreshing. We've had a number of ministers that profess to love the arts and care about the arts, but here is a person that has a passion for the arts and has a passion for advancing the arts, and I think that is really very encouraging. I think the other note that I would bring when I listen to the minister and I listened to the conversation before we walked in here today is a change in the climate that I've seen over the last 6 or 7 years. When I joined the BC Arts Council, I think it was fair to say that the climate between the community and the government was frosty. That's a polite way of saying it was really awful. We were working at odds with one another. It was confrontational in the extreme. as I've watched what's happened over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a movement that says, look, we can't win this by beating up on each other. We got to win this by coming together and finding what is right, each doing our own part and making this a successful province and for the artists, for the cultural communities, and for the population of British Columbia. And I applaud you for your role in stepping back and say, let's do this in a positive manner, in a constructive manner, instead of confrontational. And I know the government is trying hard to do their part to meet you on that dimension. In terms of the council, I send you their greetings. We have 15 members of council. We're short 2 right now, but we'll fill those vacancies. And I can tell you to the person, they have a strong passion for arts, and I know a number of them would prefer to be here today, but unfortunately they couldn't. When I look at what we've been doing over the last year, I know what you've been doing. You've been very busy working forward on your policy framework, and I applaud you for that. At Council, we've been trying to do our part, and we understand our role. We're an agency of government, and we are there to implement government policy, but also to help frame it to the extent we can, and we do that through consultation. I look back at this past year and I say, really, what can we tick off and say we tried to accomplish and what have we accomplished? I think the first thing we did is to take the increased budget, and we are thankful to the provincial government for an extra $7+ million that we were granted at Council, and we put that to work in the province. We felt that our first responsibility was to take this new money, along with the existing budget that we had, and invest it wisely on behalf of the people of British Columbia. I think that's what the government would expect of any agency, and that's what we have tried to do. The new programs that have been brought into place are just reaching the point that we get some feedback, some interesting feedback. We're probably going to have to tweak them over the next year, but clearly our focus has been putting this money to work. There's no sense going back to the government saying we want more money if we cannot prove to them that we've been responsible stewards of the money that they gave us to invest in the first place. So that is our goal and was our goal for the year, and we're almost to that point. The second thing we did, we know that the economy is challenging, not just for the arts community, but for everyone in this province at this time. And we have focused on trying to find some efficiency gains, not just for the council and their staff, but for the applicants, for the clients of council. So we're looking at ways to streamline applications, looking at ways to streamline reporting, looking for ways to provide more information through electronic reporting systems and diagnostics that we might be able to perform. All of this is designed to say, look, let's take the money we have, let's take the assets that we have, the tremendous staff at Council, and work on that, and we'll make that work to your advantage. The third thing we did this past year was to revamp our strategic plan. The old one expired in 2013, so we were almost in time and said we should have a 2014-2018 strategic plan. I'm happy to report that we finished this, and I got to tell you, it was a challenging task, as I know you have found your work to be very challenging. We've now posted it on the web, and so the next critical step, of course, is to say, okay, did we believe it? The answer is yes. Well, what are you going to do about it? The implementation is about to happen. If you take a look on the web, you'll find the strategic plan has 4 major goals, and they will come as no surprise to you. They have been our goals, the previous strategic plan. We still have much work to do, and we will continue to do it. I think the fundamental change that we brought in is that our strategic plan is now designed to be much more action-oriented. We don't want to sit back and talk. We want to sit back and work with the community to make things happen for the betterment of artists and the betterment of the community that enjoys the art and arts community. The 4 principles that we adopted very quickly: fostering artistic excellence in all forms. And that's an expansion of what we had before. We're trying to be broader in our interests, broader in our opportunities, so forms and practice are now part of the theme. We want to strengthen engagement in the arts by building awareness, i.e. building support, advocacy for the arts, and work with you and the Alliance on that advocacy. We want to support the richness of the Aboriginal artists and communities in British Columbia. We do that for 2 reasons. One, they're amazing, amazing contributors to art in this country, in this world. And we want to see how we can embrace their art, embrace their culture, and help integrate it in the sense that we can cooperate and work together and showcase this. We think that is important. And fourthly, of course, we want to enhance support for the arts, and we continue to do that. We don't do it as vocally in the public, but we do it rather vocally in private. We're strong supporters of the arts. So I think we're trying to do our part. And what I'm saying is I am delighted that you are doing your part in the leadership of bringing things together, a convergence to this cultural framework, policy framework. I applaud you for your work. I will watch it with interest, and we will cooperate in any manner possible to help you reach your goals, because I think your goals are very similar to our goals, a rich, diverse, contributing artistic community in British Columbia. We have the minister to help us do it. We have the government to help us do it. We have you and the artists to make it happen. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Stan. And now I would like to hand you over to the care of the Executive Director of the Alliance for Arts and Culture, Rob Glore, who will be your guide through the working part of today's presentations. Rob?
Thank you, Kevin. I am so encouraged by the words we've already heard this morning, and I think that just sets a great tone for what work we can get done today. We're going to move into some presentations from now until the break. Before we do, though, I just want to add a couple last notes. In addition to the message that we received from the Minister, we're also joined today by the Assistant Deputy Minister overseeing culture, the Culture Branch, Dr. Melanie Stewart. She's here with us. Melanie, can you put up your hand? Oh, there she is, very back. Easy to spot. And I just want to say that her interest in the work that we're doing has been clearly expressed from her first day on the job, and we really appreciate that.